Mula sa Asian Community Development Council, ito ang Fil-Am in Focus. Mondays at 12 noon, right here on PHLV Radio.
Good day everyone! Maayong adlaw po sa inyong lahat. Welcome to another episode of Fil-Am in Focus, a program brought to you by the Asian Community Development Council or ACDC, where we dive into the critical issues, successes, challenges, and opportunities impacting the Filipino Americans. Ako po ang inyong host, Loisse Ledres. In celebration of Women's History Month, we're highlighting incredible women in our community who have made their mark. Being in the creative field is oftentimes associated with passion, innovation, and freedom of expression. However, it also comes with its own challenges, from navigating the business side to constantly adapting to a changing industry. Today, we're kicking it off with a creative entrepreneur who will share the highs and lows of being a business owner and how she navigates the industry as a Filipino woman. Loisse Ledres is a visual artist based in Las Vegas, occupied Southern Paiute land, who loves adding color to the community. With a strong design background, she explores the intersection of image, text, and color with culture to empower and mobilize people. So, salamat, Loisse. Salamat kaayo, Loisse, for joining us today.
Salamat kaayo. I'm excited to be here. So honored.
Oh, yeah. Same, likewise. Let's start with a little bit about your background. When did you move here from the Philippines, and how did your journey as a creative entrepreneur start?
Yeah, so I'm going to speak Bisaya and Tagalog interchangeably, pero I was born in Cebu, taga Cebu ko, Bisaya. Hello to my Bisaya people out there. So I moved to the U.S. when I was 11 with my family. I was first in North Carolina, and then we moved to New Mexico, and then to New York, and then now to Nevada. So a lot of immigrants, I think, understand that you have to just move because maybe it's your documents, it's your visa, etc. And that was sort of our journey. So that's where I started in terms of how I moved here, but into my entrepreneurship as a creative, it was really not planned. I sort of just followed where my passions were, and thankfully my mom really supported me, and what that looked like was after high school she supported that I go to FIT in New York City to study design. So from design, I shifted and worked in the advertising industry, and then I decided to freelance as an artist, and that's been about 3 years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your journey, and it's inspiring to hear how you've embraced creativity also at a young age, and it has evolved over time from being in the advertising industry to being your freelance creative artist. And we know that your journey has been a rich one, from moving to North Carolina to New York and now to Vegas. But before diving into the specifics, can you tell us about how your passion of art and design really began, and how you found your creative voice?
Yeah, that's such a good question. I like to think that Filipinos are born inherently creative, especially Filipinos, because we grow up surrounding by dance, singing, and even when we do our pistas, there's like decorations everywhere. There's like the kuyas know how to decorate a table, like the ates know how to make the signs, and like I just grew up with art and design inherently in my upbringing in the Philippines, and I was already interested in that in the first place, so it was a great combo. So yeah, being born and developing in that world so young, I think gave me such a big advantage in the creative industry, I would say, because I already started training my eye without even realizing it. So I started to discern like what colors I liked, what shapes I liked, how it made people react, things like that. So I guess, long story answer, being in the Philippines and growing up in that world really shaped the art and design, like the passion I have for art and design to this day.
Oh, wow. Thank you. That's amazing how your environment shaped how you present your art right now, and then be creative about it.
Thank you.
That's ang galing. And then, you know, starting a business is never easy, and especially in the creative industry where the lines between art and commerce becomes blur.
Yes.
So, Luis, can you share some challenges that you have faced when starting your own business?
Oh my gosh, yeah, we could have a whole other big conversation about this, but some of the challenges between merging art and business is, I think the biggest one that I'm still navigating to this day is how to make sure I'm not just creating art for money's sake, but also how can I make sure I have a sustainable practice so I can keep making art for as long as I can. So it's sort of contradictory, like you need money to keep making art, but don't make art for money. And then it's like, this is sort of the challenge we have as artists all like from everywhere, especially if you're not born into money, which a lot of artists unfortunately are. So they have that sort of recurring financial support. So I am navigating that still to this day. At the beginning of my freelancing, I had to seek out like financial advisors and accountants and like people who already did freelancing for a bit, so that I could ask them like, how are you structuring your year, like financially, like how much do you have to save for taxes, how much do you charge now that you're a freelancer, etc. So a big piece of advice that I have benefited from really is asking blunt, direct questions about money to people who know a lot better than you. And as for me, because I did that, like at the beginning of my career, I actually sought out a Filipina financial advisor. She did these free financial consulting services, and I asked her like, how much should I be charging? And she whipped out this spreadsheet and she like calculated it for me, and she told me that you should be charging twice what you're planning to charge. And if I did not know that piece of advice from the beginning till now, like I would be in such a different place, because like a 50% increase in your rate from the start is huge. So yeah, so I can talk more about the conceptual side later, but in terms of the business, it's a balancing act and it's really hard, and I get a lot of help from people as much as I can. I have a lot of mentors that help me, and I seek them out too. A lot of Filipino women, actually, specifically Gina Marico, who owns her own events agency in San Francisco, and I have mentors in New York as well, and out here in Vegas. Rachel from Small Business Development Center. I don't know if you know, she's Filipina also. Ate Rachel, what's up? She helped me sign up for all my LLCs, documenting all the licenses that I had to get, all that stuff. So yeah, to answer your question, it's been hard.
So it's really very importante is to seek out help for those who have been there and then can give you business advice. And it's really like what you said, it's striking the balance between the artistic side and running a business. And I know you mentioned earlier, it's tough to give value to your art. And then learning that through one of your advisors is, you wouldn't know if you haven't like seek out help. So that's very important. And important rin is to learn yung industry standards and knowing your worth. Then importante for that.
Absolutely, especially yung as an immigrant, baka you feel na I'll take anything that I can get kasi I've never done this before, or like I don't know any other artists in my family na who are artists, so like if someone's gonna pay me like $50 for my art, let me just like take it. But thankfully I've never been in that place, and I understand it's so difficult for different artists to have like different expectations for their work, pero because all these powerful people have been telling me, no, you have value, it's so significant, rather than me just like relying on my instincts of like survival and feeling like less than or whatever. narratives I believed growing up or something. So yeah, it's so significant to have those people tell you that you can charge your worth.
Importante. That's very insightful, and both can actually coexist kasi you're just as long as you're clear about your values and what your goals are for your business. And then looking back, Louise, what do you wish you knew when you first started your business and the creative industry as a whole?
I think a big thing, and in a sense, I'm really glad I had mentors, because I don't regret a lot of decisions that I made in my creative career, so there's no like what I wish, but I want to, I guess, reiterate to my younger self is a few things. So first, I think is relying on your instinct is really important, especially as artists, creatives. We create from a really kind of sometimes like unknown well of inspiration. We can't really define why we're creating what we create or why we're making decisions sometimes, because parang nandito lang, like it's in your heart in a way. It's really unexplainable. Like it might sound cheesy, but like it's literally like I can't ignore it. Like parang mas stress ako if I don't pay attention to it, you know? So first is like really listen to your instinct. I had to practice that more and more over the years, because when I was younger I was scared to trust it, because like, oh, what if I'm just young, inexperienced, and that's true, there's some cases, pero the instinct for me to jump into freelance was really scary and totally it's very unrealistic. Like it shouldn't have been like a move that I made if you look at it from far away. But if you look closer, like in my everyday life, like I have expanded so much as a person in my artwork, in my community, in the people that I've met, because I made the choice to trust my instincts.
Just listening to your inner voice that you have to do this regardless of what the challenges are. And do you think that that is what makes the path worthwhile for you?
I would say so, because I think yes, you can always shift your life around based on money or like things that are more tangible, right? Like in your, like if you need more friends, you can make more friends. If you need to make more money, you can make more money, and you'll never sort of regret those moves if you're like, oh, actually took a job that paid a lot less. I'll just take another one in the future that pays more. But if you are like, oh, I didn't listen to my gut instinct and inner voice 4 years ago. I'm now 4 years into a totally different path and I don't feel good. It's a lot more difficult to repair and redirect. It's possible. I don't want to discourage anyone, but I think an inner voice is so much harder to like not listen to than like factual decisions or
So you always go back. You know, for that, I love that, because you always go back to yourself, what your inner voice is telling you, and that will make you happy. And I think regardless of the challenges that you will be encountering, you will be able to overcome them.
Thank you. I still need to hear that. Thank you. Once in a while, I need the reminder.
And you appreciate the lessons that come with those journey of challenges, diba? So I'm glad that you're listening to your own voice, because not everyone will have the courage to do that. They will just quiet their voice and then just do what they're what the society tells them.
Oh, courage is a good word. I want to give credit where credit's due. I think is like sometimes I have to borrow on other people's courage, because sometimes I don't have enough. So I have people around me. I call them like my board of directors. Like I have people who's helped me like pour into my vision and is like, Louise, you're second guessing yourself. Just go for it. Like there's people constantly reminding me of like, I should, like, I do have the courage and I can make it through. My mom is a big voice for courage too, actually.
Oh, that's good.
Me.
It's important because when you carve your own path, and even in entrepreneurship, it can be isolating. But having to surround yourself with people who believes in you, who loves you, you know, like your mom, si nanay, diba? That will change. confidence.
Yeah,
That you believe in
definitely.
yourself more, right?
Absolutely, yes.
And then Louise, you work on incredible, impactful projects over the years that address themes like yung voting and then politics. So what do you believe art and creativity play in advocating for social change?
Yeah, I wanted to kind of, this question was so good. I saw it on my list. I'm like, oh, I need to prepare for this one. I wanted to bring some context. I think Filipinos are born from resistance, at least the Philippines we know of now. I mentioned I'm from Cebu, so it's the land of Lapu-Lapu. Like, Lapu-Lapu and Magellan, like that story was, I was surrounded by it. We would go to like museums and like the shrine and Lapu-Lapu statue. And I always was so proud that I was part of a people that resisted and that fought for themselves and fought for their community. And I think I really internalized that. And I think partly too, I think Bisaya people are very outspoken. I love that about us. Like being around my family of matriarchs, they're always like so strong-headed, strong-willed. Like they're not gonna like let things just pass. And so I feel like for me it was such a natural instinct to like incorporate political issues and social issues into my work because art is my tool and that is a message, and there's many different messages, whether it's coming from my personal story or from like this from society or different things. Like it wasn't like it was just an automatic thing for me to incorporate that because I'm just continuing the legacy of my own family, my own people, my own community. And I think we have a lot of responsibility, especially right now, to give voice to people who might be too scared or not have the resources or not have the power. I've loved working on projects that always involved community collaboration. Like I'm not an artist that works in isolation. I love to hear stories from other people, and maybe there's ways to incorporate it into the art. So yeah, that is, I think I'm very blessed to be able to have art as a tool to do these things, because it can feel very scary and feeling like you don't have any control over things happening around you. Yeah,
I'm glad that you're using art and your creativity to challenge norms and also start conversations. And we're actually showing your work right now. So can you tell us more about this artwork?
Yeah, so the one on the screen right now is more of like a personal story. So this one is showing 3 different figures, very feminine figures, and they're sort of in this like abstracted color and shape sort of environment. This is actually celebrating the community that we feel and the belonging that we feel when we're around people and we're just enjoying music and dance together. I love theater, I love concerts, I love music and the way that it influences us. And we see every year like the Grammys and like the album releases, the concerts, like people like really gather around that, and I think that's really powerful because we can connect through that. So that was sort of a celebration of that.
Ang ganda. And then you also did a mural for Nevada State University, which we are showing right now. So what's the meaning behind that mural?
Yes, oh my gosh, this is one of my favorite projects. In this photo, I'm with Dr. Marcella, who was part of the commissioning group. So this mural is titled Growing Together. It's for the Multicultural Center on campus. In the center of the mural, actually, I have another photo of it in the hallway, if you want to show that, but it's okay. In the center is a seed, and all around it are all these different figures connected to it. There it is. And it's at the end of this hallway where it guides you through the center. And I wanted to create like a piece that showed how, when we come together and support each other and come with our differences, we can create and grow something really beautiful. And in the mural, it's interspersed in there is like water and floral elements from indigenous species in Nevada. So I wanted to show that we coexisting with the environment, with each other, and even things that we can't see is really important for things to grow.
Ang ganda naman ng meaning ng, alam mo, mural. And of course, your other work. And it's clear that you're not just creating for the sake of creating, but also with a purpose, and that aims to, elevate voices. Yung sinabi mo kanina, and, showing people who are often overlooked, and you're actually inspiring us, who are the viewers, to think critically and act with empathy rin, with the one that you just provided meaning on. And it's a powerful tool talaga, art, na it can bring change in us.
Yeah, thank you for that. I really appreciate that. That's really my goal. I think there's days when I feel like, oh my God, I can't think of anything. Like, that's really, that really happens. And sometimes there are times where things get really hard in terms of, like, keeping the practice alive, that I'm like, should I keep doing this? Like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. Because it's so mentally, emotionally, and physically exhausting sometimes, financially exhausting. But I go back to that. I go back to why I do it, and the stories people have said because of the artwork, and that is the thing that keeps me going.
I love what you said. You always go back to your why.
Yes.
Yes.
Have to, or else I'll go crazy.
Always go back to your why. And then, na-mention mo kanina that your work is deeply connected to your cultural identity. Di ba, yung sa mga fiesta, and then how they are able to put in colors to decorate. So, Loisse, what are or who are some of your role models in the that inspired you and supported you, aside from si Nanay?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I think immediately around me, the people I want to say by name who's listening right now, I think Jazz, who is my second brain. I love you, Jazz. Sunny, who's just listened to all my rants. And Chow, my sister. And all of them are inherently powerful Filipinos in their own right, super creative, and they inspire me also. And then outside of my circle, I'm around a lot of Filipino creatives. I actually helped co-found Tagalikha, which is a creative community in New York mostly. And all of them are amazing designers, artists, creatives. There's like stained glass artists, illustrators, art directors, like all these people who are just so talented and are so clearly see their vision, makes me want to do the same. And then in terms of like names, I recently have been trying to look at more Filipino fine artists, because that's where I'm shifting my art into, is paintings, more physical mediums. Pasita Abad is an amazing artist. She has passed, but her work always connected identity, especially like Filipino American identity, and also it's very colorful, very bright, but also very textured. So look her up, Pasita Abad. And then Geraldine Javier, who's a working artist right now. I just found her work, amazing work. Like, I have to like really like sit with it for a bit. She does work surrounding like natural elements, mortality, but also like environmental justice, and combines all of that. And she uses like actual natural materials in her paintings. So I try to draw as much as I can from all the different people around me.
So they are all the people who inspire you, from Jazz to Sunny, Nanay, and then I love how you mentioned also Patricia Abad, and who really have created a space for Filipinos, art and design. And I'm really happy that, Loisse, that you honor your roots, and then you are pushing boundaries for Filipino art, Tagalikha, oh my God, I didn't even know that. So, well, thank you for, using that art and your art for cultural preservation in general. So, building a creative or rather being a creative businesswoman, and as a Filipina has its own challenges. So how do you navigate that business side of things? Also being in a minority space.
Yeah, oh my goodness. I think like a running joke between me and Jazz is I'm gonna be blunt. If white people have the audacity, we can too. We always say that in our business calls because we have white mentors. I have a mentor who's white, who is in the creative directing field, and Jazz also has mentors in the business side too. I'm going to be blunt and say that they're the ones who take up the business space, and they're the ones who know the tools, they know how to negotiate, they know what the speak is in that community, and I've thankfully had people who partner with me who's honest with me, and like those exact mentors are like, Louise, charge more. Like, Louise, ask for this protection in your contract. Like, do this, this, and this, because they know how to navigate that whole the whole ecosystem. And so as a Filipino woman, I need my own people for sure pouring into me, but I also need to be blunt and honest that this system was not built for me. This system was not built by people who look like me. So I need to understand their game so that I can also understand how to build my own systems that are more in service of my community. So yeah, I guess having the audacity is a big one. Especially as a Filipino woman, and I think the thing that I want to encourage people who want to do this work is most people are very open to giving you help if you are specific about what you need. Like, for example, I started I did a workshop around pitching a business to investors. What is an artist doing in that space, right? Like, but to me, I think it's really important to understand all these different areas, because I get to see different ways people think and different audiences that I might not be reaching yet. All these things are such important tools to keep your art going, and I think you owe it to yourself and your community to know how to keep your work going, because it's important. Yeah.
And importante nga, like you always go back to it, and that's what I'm getting is like you always go back to asking help, and then finding people who can support you and give you advice in which you are unfamiliar with. So ang ganda nung sinabi mo, and I'm sure yung mga ating viewers and listeners are getting a lot of inspiration from what you have experienced, and it's good na actually yung paggawa mo magkakaroon ng ripple effect yun in terms of yung visibility, and importante talaga yung having that support from everyone. And Louise, your work is so impactful and meaningful, just like what we just showed earlier. And what do you hope people can take away when they experience your art?
My gosh, yeah, this was another question I had to prepare for also. I think the biggest thing for me is for people to feel less alone when they see my work. I think at first my work seems very colorful and bright and joyful, and that's intentional for sure, but I actually like to intertwine like sadness, grief, and the pain of being alive into my work also, and just like the real side of being a person. So I hope like in the work they're drawn in by the joy, by the color, but they also sort of have a moment to reflect with my work and get to understand something new about themselves.
That's a beautiful approach, Louise. And like in a nutshell, you're creating space for people to feel seen, heard, and inspired to engage in our world, diba? In our environment. So
I try.
Ganda nung you're very intentional to create yung mga meaningful pieces. Kasi I've seen your work, diba? Ang ganda. Tapos talagang thought-provoking yung mga kini-create mo. So, do you have any upcoming projects that you're excited about, or we can visit?
Yes, oh my gosh. So a few things actually. So this week I'm gonna be at Market in the Alley. If anyone wants to come by my booth and see my artwork, I have art prints and stuff. So I'll be in the Arts District this weekend, and later this month I'll also be at the Windmill Library for their Mystic Fair. But in terms of like big projects coming up in April, I'll have a collection up at Sports Social. They're a community center, especially for kids who are needing therapy services. So they asked me to put art throughout their space. So I'll be sharing that soon. That's in April. And then in May, this is really exciting. This just happened. I'm the featured artist of Henderson's Art Festival this year.
Congratulations!
Yeah, thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you. So they'll be using Growing Together in all of the signage, the marketing materials for everything on that day, the 2-day festival, I mean. So come through. I'll have a big booth there, and I actually will do something really exciting. I'll have a portrait pop-up booth where you can take a photo, and behind it is an original painting. Like I'll be making a large-scale mural, and you can take photos and have like beautiful photos come from it. And lastly, what else? Oh, in October I will be installing at Las Vegas City Hall. So
Wow! Galing mo naman.
Salamat. We've been working hard. It'll be up for 6 months. So starting October, my art installation will be in the exterior windows of the City Hall until March.
Oh.
Yeah, but that was a lot. So you can just follow me on Instagram.
Yeah, follow on Instagram. Ano yung IG handle mo?
Yes.
So that they can follow you.
Yes, you can follow all my studio work and updates on jeezlouise.studios. Geez Louise without a U, so LOISSE without a U .studios. And I also have a newsletter that I get to share my process and everything. And if you want, you can be a monthly subscriber. That really helps support my practice too. But
Ang galing. So talagang you're creating a path for creative entrepreneurs, and you're so super busy with all of your like upcoming projects, which is so great. And then, so what advice can you give yung mga fellow kababayans natin who are, looking into breaking into the creative industry, or if they want to embark on their own journey as well, like what you did?
Yeah, oh my gosh, what a good question. I think the biggest thing I want to share to younger folks is comparison is the thief of all joy. That is a big one that I have to think of. So when you're young or you're still starting out, you might feel like you're behind, or you're not far enough, or you're not good enough yet. But keyword there is yet. Like the people you're comparing to are probably like 10, 15, 20 years into their experience, or they had support from when they were so young that you didn't have up to this point. So it is just better to assume that everyone is in their own lane, and that we don't need to rob each other's like achievements, or like bring them down, or like talk them down so you feel better. Like just be inspired by those people. Just look at their stories and see what they did, and see the tools that they used for their own journey too. I still do that to this day. I'm looking at bios and being like, oh, what school did they study? What major did they study? What agency did they work with? What tools, mediums, etc. Like I always try to posture myself as someone who's still learning, and that has really, really helped me a lot. And the people who are there to help you will help you, but just be careful that some people may not be there to help you. So just discern that for yourself, and then you'll be okay. So just don't compare, and learn as much as you can, and stick to your own instincts and voice, like I mentioned earlier.
Such a great advice, Louise. So it's so easy to compare ourselves, and you have that pressure of comparing yourself to others and expecting that you'll be the same or have the same results. But stay in your lane and run your own race.
Exactly.
Talaga, diba?
Exactly.
And then especially before we close this episode,
Yeah.
if you could go back in time and give yourself a piece of advice when you first started, what would it be?
I think you're gonna have so much fun, so don't worry too much about it. I'm gonna say that because I'm someone who likes to plan every single thing, every single detail, and then that robs me out of the moment or the experiences I get to have, especially when I was younger. So just enjoy the thing in front of you, and yes, you can plan, but don't worry too much about it. You're still gonna have so much fun no matter what. You will do things that you would never expected, like today. Like I never would have expected to do this, and I'm so excited to be here. So yeah, you're gonna have so much fun. Life is short, don't take it too seriously. If you need to change your mind, you can change your mind.
Oh, yes, I love that. So it's your reminder to just trust the process of the journey and embrace the journey, the ups and the downs, you know. And I think everybody can resonate that, you know, that's something that you need to hear like every day. So thank you, Loisse. It's such a pleasure, like talagang makipagkwentuhan sa'yo today and hear your story. So you're a beautiful reminder, you know, that the power, persistence, and also having that using art to connect with our community is important and very uplifting. And again, thank you. Maraming salamat kaayo. Tama ba? For sharing your journey and para sa ating mga viewers and listeners, if you are inspired by Loisse's journey, make sure to check her art, her work. Go to her IG handle, G's Loisse, and support. And also support her, not only her, but also the amazing creatives in our industry. So again, thank you. Maraming salamat po for listening and watching Fil-Am in Focus, a program brought to you by the Asian Community Development Council. And to our listeners and viewers, I hope you enjoyed hearing Loisse's journey and gained inspiration from her story. So be sure to stay connected with ACDC Fil-Am in Focus as we continue to highlight remarkable individuals who are shaping our community. And thank you everyone again for tuning in. For more information about ACDC and the services we offer, please visit our website at acdcnv.org. and stay connected. Remember to stay inspired and stay creative in whatever you are doing and listen to your own voice. Abangan po ang susunod namin na episode. Hanggat sa muli. Yay!